Hi everybody, and welcome to another session in Astrology and Astronomy by Design. This is Henry, your AI astrology guide. In this session entitled Aspects Part 2, An Earthly View, we want to share our view on planetary aspects and how to see them here on Earth as they occur in our everyday lives. What we have found to be most difficult in getting people to understand aspecting planets from an earthly view is its simplicity. You see, most people who are into astrology have been conditioned to believe that astrology is a complicated subject, but it isn't. On the other hand, astronomy is a complicated subject for all but a few, and astronomy is what the majority of people have been accepting and using under the assumption that it is astrology. As I said in a previous video, the two are complementing forces, with astronomy being the body as the planets are tangible entities, and astrology being the spirit of the planets as they are the various energies produced by the planets, and we are among the receivers of the planetary energies. In the area of aspects, or aspecting planets, the person of common or typical knowledge of astrology shouldn't have to spend a lot of time looking into the heavens or the distant past in an attempt to draw conclusions about the present and the future. Knowledge of where the planets are, what their influences are, and who or what they represent on Earth and in our lives offers us more than enough information to keep us occupied with astrology, as well as more accurate information. When my fellow students and I started learning astrology, it was mainly by use of time calculations. Natal charts came much later, as our teacher determined his way would expedite the learning process. We started using horary astrology first, which means we were learning to read planetary influences in real time, interactively under real-world conditions and situations. We were moving from place to place, meeting people, clocking visitors. We even tried to cheat the system by forcing arrivals at certain places at certain times in our attempts to achieve certain results. But planetary influences upset our plans by aspecting us with an assortment of obstacles every time we tried to counter them. Not that we didn't reach our destinations, just not in the times we were aiming for. Just the same, we were able to observe and document our hits and misses, successes and failures, and more. In the video short entitled Aspects Part 1, A Heavenly View, I gave you a 1-minute summary on the nature, purpose, and use of aspecting planets. The reason I didn't bother with a detailed explanation is because there are more than enough of them being recycled on YouTube and the internet for anyone to study them in depth. Just the same, as the first video is only 1 minute long, you may want to watch it before continuing. Maybe you can like it too while you are there. Moving on, I want you to consider the following. We are all affected by planetary influences every moment of every day. While we are awake, others are sleeping, and while we are sleeping, others are awake, with everyone doing what they do by day and night. And as it is always day and night somewhere, this is a continuous cycle that is in line with planetary law, harmony, and relationships. As a result, planetary influences are so in line with the consistency of our daily routines and habits that it is often difficult to miss occurrences that are not in line with the norm in our lives or what we believe to be the norm. This is due to the norm being far more consistent than those things outside the norm globally. If you apply this knowledge to learning astrology in general and planetary aspects that are viewable on Earth in relation to your life, you are not going to have a problem learning how to calculate planetary aspects by sight and time on the fly. The first thing that you have to understand is that every physical action and interaction we have or notice represents a planetary aspect to some measurable degree by which we are affected, or by which we can affect others directly or indirectly. By physical interactions, we mean those things that affect our physical souls and senses first, which are our sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, and bodies as a whole, all of which are represented by our sun signs or personalities. In turn, what is received by our physical souls and senses directly impacts our spiritual souls and senses, which are the feelings that developed within our hearts and the thoughts that develop in our minds. They are represented by our moon signs or characters. All aspects are unique to the people or person who is being aspected. This is why general planetary readings, or horoscopes, with their countless aspects, may not apply to anyone directly, though they may affect everybody indirectly, thereby causing an individual, and/or several others, to be affected directly. Let us give you a general idea of what those who are indirectly aspecting us look like. They could look something like this. That's a lot of people, represented by lots of planets, represented by lots of aspects, with the movement causing the aspects to change continually. The question is, do you think that because they are indirect aspects, they are insignificant to your existence? They could hinder your forward movement to some degree. Or it could be like this. Again, hindering your movement or forward process. These aspects, like the planets, are constant and continual, but where our abilities to discern and choose allows us to break the order of our normal routines of life, both mentally and physically. Planetary variations are not physical. They stay the ordained course, but by way of their interacting or aspecting to produce various levels of influential energies at various times during their movement, and from numerous positions in space, they produce an array of influences by which we are affected. Now, I am going to share two very important points about this nightmarish-looking, Saturn-influenced traffic jam that is delaying progress. Though some astrologers have determined the aspects of certain planets to be good and others bad, the fact is that there are no inherently good or bad planets. Each planet has its unique energy and can have both positive and negative effects depending on its placement, the aspect it forms with other planets, and how we decide. This is why things that may have seemed bad from the onset can turn out to be good, and vice versa. Our second point is that the outcomes of decisions that we have made and will make in the future will require that we reach certain places at certain times, which may require that obstacles be placed in our path, especially when we pray for something, as prayer is a request for intercession by God. And though we may acknowledge that His time is best, we are still anxious, hasty, and impatient beings. Next, let us move on to more direct planetary aspects that are visibly available for recognition, but are generally overlooked. They occur every time we make direct, conscious contact with anyone, anything, or any place, even if it is merely eye contact, like when you saw and bought that particular outfit, or those shoes caught your eye, and you had to have them. They all have a birthday and a zodiac sign, and as you never know what the future will bring, if your eye catches a person, you might want to write down the time, including the date, or download one or all of the apps in the description. Then, when you have a chance, use one of the apps and screenshot of the time. I would use the Time Passages app in this situation, as it gives you a Luna chart reading. These apps are a luxury we didn't enjoy back when we started learning astrology. Another good thing about the apps is that when you take the time, all aspecting planets will be visible, as they rule time and zodiac signs. Once you know the zodiac sign of the person, or signs of the people, if there are more than one, you will be able to connect the dots of person to planet, to zodiac sign to aspecting planetary positions. There is much more we have to share on the subject of planetary aspects, but let this suffice for now. Derek E.
Thanks, Henry.
You're welcome, Derek E.
Hi, everybody. If you would like to hear one of my true astrology stories and get an idea of how planetary aspects work and things that can be determined when it happens, watch my video entitled Astrology 2023 in Sinistry. Just after the 17 minutes and 30-second mark, the story will begin. The link is in the description below. In the third part of our aspect series, we will show you how you can use movies to familiarize yourself with the nature and conditions of aspects and how they are reflected in our everyday lives and routines. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until our next video meeting, this is Derek E.
and Henry, your AI astrology guide, signing off.